big city people, I thought it was so important I could just be really late. But the real reason is you guys know that there's a little bit of traffic. When you're coming from Washington, and Mercy and I just flew in from Florida, and we had a really important interview tonight with someone who's kind of the man of the hour. You know Congressman Mark Meadows? So we were interviewing him on our show. When you get home, you can go watch it on conservative.org. It's just gone live. And we were applauding Mark for having courage. And it seems like at this time in our history, that's what we need more than anything else, is a whole lot of courage. And the other thing we need is to be able to, is that water? Remember when Marco Rubio needed water? That's what I need. We need a whole, what'd you say? Oh, you're good. We need a whole bunch of courage, and we also need to stand by each other. And I think that's what we have to do for all the people in this country who are being canceled. I call it being desecrated. I actually wrote a book that's coming out in a couple months, and the person I wrote the book with and myself, we were sitting around thinking about what this whole cancel culture thing is. And, you know, I think we got it a little bit wrong. It's not that they're trying to shut us down or get us fired or tell us we're hateful or white supremacists or whatever their latest thing is. It's also they're trying to take what's good and honorable and holy and say it's bad and rotten and repugnant. And that goes for our church, and that goes for our country, and that goes for like fine institutions like the police and law enforcement and Boy Scouts. And you, that's right, and daughter sports. I have 5 of those daughters, and you know, I used to make some fun about, I used to say, the only way I'll ever get, when you have 5 daughters, does anyone have 5 daughters in the room? It's quite an accomplishment, really. 5 daughters, I always said, you know, the only way I'm going to get a son is gender confusion. It's not funny anymore. Because they really are confusing our kids left and right in your communities. And we have to stand up and say, enough is enough. What's going on the floor of the House of Representatives, literally why we speak here, is for the first time in the history of the United States Congress, the majority party, which unfortunately the Democrats have become socialists. I don't call them Democrats, I call them socialists. They have prevented the minority from having a voice. We don't believe in that in this country. We never have. From the very beginning of our country, we always recognized the ability to disagree. And even minorities would have the ability to speak. So if you're a political minority, you have a chance to speak. If you're a religious minority, you have the chance to worship. No matter what way in which you might be smaller than the majority, you get respected. This is the very first time this is not happening. So you have some fake Republicans who are there to lead the fight against, I believe it's just the fight against President Trump. They impeached him once, they impeached him twice, and this is the 3rd attempt to impeach him out of office to keep him or anybody associated with him from ever running for office again. Now, the only way you can have a select committee in the United States Congress to investigate something is if it has legislative intent. They're not allowed to just have investigations. They have to have legislative intent. It has to be about passing a law. Well, what law are they going to pass on 1/6? There's no law. There's nothing they need to pass. You can't change what happened that day. And they know that. And that's why this whole thing, from my perspective, is part of this trend in society. We just get to make it up. And their whole narrative is that all of you are domestic terrorists, that all of us are domestic terrorists, that if you believe in a voter ID, you're a racist. I mean, these concepts are insane, but they kind of take hold with enough people. And so, as Mercy and I travel around the country, here's the good news. You know, you only cheat in an election if you have to. If you're going to win overwhelmingly, you don't have to cheat. You ever played with people who cheat at golf? The really good ones really don't need to cheat because they're really good. You cheat when you got to make something up, right? It's that kind of simple. So let's do the math in reverse. There's a lot more of us than there are of them. We don't have to cheat because we think we're going to win. And also, we don't believe in it, right? And we believe in things like there's right, there's wrong, there's boys, there's girls, right? It's in the Constitution, it's out of the Constitution, words mean something. I remember a few years ago, Oprah Winfrey said there was something called My Truth. And I thought, well, that's interesting, my truth. What does my truth mean? Well, I've got truth, you've got truth. Everybody in the room has their own truth. Well, there's no problem, I think, with having individual conscience, but if there is no set truth, and you can make it be anything that makes you feel better, you know what you get with that, is you get chaos. You get chaos while everybody says, well, the Constitution of the 14th Amendment means this, or it means that, or, you know, a regulation means this, or it means that. And I think what you're seeing, unlike this community where we spend a lot of time, where people, I think what we love about coming out here is your words mean something. When someone says they're going to do it, they're going to do it. When someone says hello, they actually want to give you greetings. It was really hard for us when we first got out here because people would say hello, and then they'd still stand there. Like they wanted to talk or something. In the beginning, I thought, like, it's kind of creepy. They're friendly. And then I'm from Kansas, and I remembered, oh yeah, that's how normal people act. Hello, how are you? Yeah, you doing okay? And where we live, they don't do that. You say hello, and you know, they just look at you and they keep walking with their mask on, most likely. Well, you would love this. We were on the airplane. We're coming back from Florida, and this hasn't happened to me before, but literally, the lady next to me called the stewardess to tattle on me for not wearing my mask correctly. I mean, are there any pastors in here? Okay, Pastor, I have to say, I felt some real aggression in my heart with this lady. Pray for me. Oh man, I was really struggling. I was like, I'd like to but I just need to be nicer. So what I did to get her back is I ate those 2 cookies with the smallest bites and took the most chews. Looking at her the whole time, I was like, it's a little bit there, a little bit of coffee. It's an insane world, right? We know that it's an insane world and people have lost their common sense. But I guess what I would like you all to know is the values you have in your community are still the values that are prevalent all across this country. They're the values of the state where I come from. They're the values of the state where Mercy comes from. I think it took things getting this bad for a lot of us to wake up. I'm 53 years old, I have 5 kids, and I'm a little bit mad at myself that I didn't see how fast we were slipping. Anybody who doesn't know how fast we're slipping now just doesn't want to see it. Because the rest of us have all been, I say we're having a great American unwokening. Hey everyone, this is Matt Schlapp with CPAC, and it's my privilege to tell you that we've got a very important project that we've just announced, the First Amendment Fund. It's a brand new fund that we've created through our criminal justice reform efforts to raise money to take care of you, Americans who are being canceled and desecrated out there around the country. We know it just happened in Virginia, where parents were called domestic terrorists by the Biden administration, where people who just want to express their political views are canceled left and right. Now we have this terrible specter of a vaccine mandate where you can lose your job or be prevented from going to a restaurant or go to school according to your vaccination status. These are all the things that are happening in this country that are making people realize that America is in a fight to defend the principles that have made her great. If you want to be involved in this important effort, please go to conservative.org, click the link for the First Amendment Fund. Please donate to this C3 to help these victims across the country, including those who are just involved in politics, to make sure they have the legal representation they need to be able to live their great American life. Right? Everybody's waking up from their slumber. I remember being in Reagan Airport, and it seems like a funny thing to me because, I don't know, you go to an airport, what do? You go over to the stand, you buy a newspaper, you get a coffee, you get a Coke. I went to Reagan, I thought I would get a Coke, and there was no Coke. This was, in the midst of all this, Joe Biden's, Build Back Better. It's great. There's just nothing to buy. There's nothing on the shelf. And there was no soda, any kind of soda. And I went up to that big display. They have this big electric display where you can pick like one of 100 sodas. Black, 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 black. And I was like, I said, what does it mean if they're all black? She goes, that means we're out. I was like, okay, but they're all black. Like, there's not like some of them are black, they're all black. And she goes, well, that means we're out. And I looked at her in the eyes and I'm like, ma'am, this is America. When have we ever run out of soda? I've never, ever known this, right? Even when things got really bad with the pandemic, we had the soda. We didn't have the toilet paper. And I was really mad at that guy, Etlin, who I love, is a great guy. It was like he put up one roll. I'd be like, could I get two? Could you just put one more up? It'd be really helpful. There's 7 of us. But we had soda. And so I said to this lady, I'm like, when you run out of soda, don't you think it's weird? And it was great. And she just looked at me, she goes, huh. It is weird, isn't it? I was like, yeah, these aren't normal times. So I think even everybody is realizing it's not normal. And it's all self-inflicted. We have high gas prices because they think gas is evil and bad. And you know what they said about you the other day? You're just gonna have to get used to paying higher prices and maybe not using your truck or your farm vehicle or your car. Like they said it's on purpose basically, to wean you off this terrible thing called fossil fuels. And then they don't believe in having production. They're stopping production left and right. And you can go through each one of these things. Once you make energy more expensive, you make food more expensive. When you make food more expensive, people who are on the margins have trouble getting food and they start having physical problems, like literally starving to death. It's a crazy thing about socialists. They tell us they care about us and they care about everyone, but everyone who's on the margins slides and gets a lot worse. All the poverty statistics under Obama went through the roof. They always hurt the very people that they claim to care for. And so all of these policies coming out of Biden are self-inflicted, and the scariest ones are, look at Russia, look at China. Who would want to live in Taiwan right now? I mean, it's a scary thing. And as someone told me the other day, when it comes to this, I call it Chinese corona, sorry, I'm not doing the COVID thing. Chinese corona, or the Wu flu, as President Trump called it, or there's a lot of good names. But the point of doing that is not to be racist, as they say, if I say it on TV. The point in saying that is it's important that we ground ourselves in the facts, and those are the facts. They set this upon us, and a lot of people believe they set it upon us to attack people who are older, and I feel like I'm getting closer to that demographic because they have a very aged population, right? And maybe that's, they used to have a one-child policy to take care of what they saw as a big problem with the unborn child, and now they see the problem of a population that's getting older. And the final thing I'll say is, we've done these CPACs all over the world, and everybody around the world is rooting for you people in this room. They want America to be strong. They want America to stand for freedom. They want America to be reliable. And when they see what's going on with Joe Biden, these socialists, they know the opposite is happening. So you got a lot of eyes on you. And the most important thing you did is you helped save the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you very much. How about that? Pretty good? And you're a little ostentatious in your victory. You didn't just win the governor's race, you won everything. You got the House of Delegates, how about that? And the strange thing is, it wasn't just Virginia, it was Seattle, and it was Minneapolis, and it was my school board in my home, Wichita, Kansas, where almost every candidate that had pushed CRT lost the critical race theory. So like it was coast to coast, north to south, Americans saying they're not going to put up with this anymore. So I really bless you for that, because what that meant in my family is, do you have to vaccinate your kids or can you make a choice, right? Do you have to take your kids when they come from school and unbrainwash them, or can we just stop the brainwashing in the beginning, right? And can we get back to what will make strong young boys into good men and wonderfully decent young ladies into strong women? It would be nice if we got back to that. So God bless you all. I'll be happy to do whatever you want me to do.